Thank you. I'm pleased to join with my colleagues here, and you've heard from Senator Turner, who laid out the case that this is not an accident, that these actions are a part of a deliberate plan to limit access to disenfranchised voters and to put a movement of voter suppression throughout our state. Ohio has now become ground zero as it relates to voter suppression and the war on voting. You've heard from Representative Clyde, who has given statistics and information about the willingness of us to try to work in a bipartisan way right here in the House and the Senate. And when we've tried to work in those bipartisan ways, we have been met with resistance. We have been very frustrated because there seems to be a disconnect between what is happening here at the State House and what is happening at your house, the houses in our districts. I represent the 33rd House District, a district where a polling location that's down the street from my house, not around the corner, not in a different neighborhood, but down the street from my house, my actual polling location, where it took 2 years and $1 million in lawsuits in order for votes to be counted. So citizens in my district are very concerned about any type of legislation that makes it harder for the vote to actually be counted. I also represent a district where across the street from where I live, a voter intimidation billboard was up. Not down the street, not around the corner, not in a different neighborhood, directly across the street from where I live was a voter intimidation billboard. Citizens of Ohio are fed up with the political football that's being played here at the State House as it relates to voting rights. We have introduced several bills. We've tried to work together in order to make voting more accessible to the citizens of Ohio, but it has been met with resistance. And that is why we have called for a voter bill of rights to be put in the Ohio Constitution. With it in the Constitution, we won't see, like we're doing now, when there's an election, they change the rules. With it in the Constitution, we won't see what we see now, where every time we're worried about, is early voting going to happen, is it not going to happen, is it going to be Sunday, is it not going to be Sunday. We've got to go to court and file this claim and that claim and use up taxpayer dollars fighting for people to have the right to vote and for their vote to be counted. And so we are steadfast and moving forward in a voter bill of rights to be put in the Constitution that takes politics and partisanship out of voting. It needs to be out of voting. And we can't have policies put in place that will predict who will be the winners and who will be the losers. In a democracy, we have to let the people vote, and the winners win and the losers lose. You have seen in this State House in the past, after the Bush debacle, there was a sense of bipartisanship. There were bills put forward, laws put in place that created early voting, provisional ballot, and more access to the ballot. And now you've seen, because those things were not in the Constitution, that those things are under attack now. There's a war on voting rights right now, and Ohio's at ground zero. So we've asked for a moratorium on all voting bills, and now we need to extend that to executive orders until the citizens of the state of Ohio have an opportunity to have a voter bill of rights in the Ohio Constitution, so that we have something permanent. The ground rules are equal, the playing field is equal, and everybody has an opportunity not only to vote, but to have their votes counted.